Hello everyone, I'm Yun Lin, an occupational therapy from Taiwan. I am really excited to be here with you today. Instead of giving a lecture, I'd love to share some stories from my own clinical experience and from the lives of many stroke survivors I have worked with. When I first became an occupational therapist, I worked at a small hospital. Rehabilitation center there were a bit different. There was no strict time limit for each session. In the morning, sometimes 7 or 8 patients would all show up at the same time, and they could use whatever equipment they like. Some patients came for 5 or 6 years. For them, coming to hospital was just daily routine. They felt like they were doing rehab just by moving their body a little, but they didn't practice at home. I feel they had given up on doing themselves. I really want to touch them how to do basic things like getting dressed by themselves, but many of them just say, "It's okay, I have a helper at home." Their honest made me feel a bit frustrated because I could see their potential, but then seem to have lost their motivation. In the hospital, I had to help many patients at once, so I couldn't spend a lot of time with each person. But I knew some patients want to practice at home. They just didn't know how to start, and they didn't have right tools. So I started thinking, what if we could give them some really simple tools to practice at home? I went back to school to get my master's degree. I learned about 3D printing and how to design rehab tools. In my research, I designed a phone training device for the arm and the hand with a phone app game. But after I graduated, I realized something important. The device worked well, but it was too complicated for most people. In real life, patients want something simple, something they can start using right away. So I started making my tools simpler. I separated the big device into many small tools. For example, a tool to help with grasping and open fingers, and a spring to hold a spoon, a fork, and a pen. This made the tools cheaper and a lot easily to use. Now, in my home visit and one-on-one sessions, I use these simple 3D printed tools more often. This helps bring rehab into everyday lives, not just keep in the hospital. This experience reflects something many therapists in Taiwan believe. Use our observation and creativity to bring rehab closer to real life. I decided to leave hospital and work in home care and one-on-one session. This gives me more freedom to design therapy based on patients' real lives. It isn't just about movement. It's about helping them return to their important life roles. I once worked with a young man who had a stroke after he left the hospital. He had a problem with attention and memory. He often fought with his wife. For example, his wife would say, "Let's buy a snack on the way home." But when they arrived at the store, he would get angry and say, "I never said I wanted a snack. Why did you stop?" His wife felt helpless. He also had bad posture when walking, which caused back pain. I went to his home. I taught him core exercise and helped him walk better. I realized that his best challenge wasn't physical, but cognitive and social. I also taught his wife to send him a message with picture beforehand, like we will start at the store later. This helped him prepare and reduce misunderstanding. After some time, his work got better. He got his scooter license back, and now he's back at delivering food on his scooter. This story is a perfect example of what home rehab can do. I think another special thing about occupational therapy in Taiwan is that many therapists know how to make a dynamic spring. There are many different forms. Some are very light and only support the fingers. Some include the wrist to make it easily for patients to practice grasp and release. And there are also commercial products on the market that help stroke survivors open and close their fingers. In my own practice, I often use 3D printing to make spring. The advantage is that the cost is much more compared to traditional products. Some patients were more willing to accept them and actually use them at home. For example, I once worked with an older gentleman whose fingers were not moving well, and he didn't know how to practice. I gave him a simple 3D printed dynamic spring. It gently pulled his finger open, making grasping and holding much easily. With the spring, he could use his left hand to keep out a cup or pull out a tissue again. Slowly, he began to use his left hand more in daily life. It was not just a tool. It was something encouraged him to continue rehab and feel confident again. That one small spring unlocked his motivation. Now let me show a different kind of comeback. The story of an auntie who loves cooking. Before her stroke, she loved cooking for her family. But after he got sick, she couldn't cook anymore, and everyone just took care of her. When I first visit her, I checked her balance. She also had left side nickname. It was hard for her to know things on her left. On top of that, she had executive functional problems, sometimes forgetting steps in a step. So I encouraged her to start with standing balance exercise. Then we practiced every single step of cooking together. Step by step, he regained confidence in the kitchen. Finally, one day she cooked a steak all by herself. It may sound simple, but for her, it was a huge achievement. She went from being cared for to caring for her family again. This is a powerful of long-term care and occupational in daily life. This was my story as a therapist working on the ground. Now, let's run out a little. I'd love to walk you through how stroke rehab works in Taiwan as a whole. When a stroke happens, the patient goes to emergency room for urgent care. When they are stable, they begin in-pain rehab. There are three main types of therapy: occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech therapy. Usually, it's 1 hour for OT, 1 hour for PT, and a half hour for ST. In Taiwan, there are two main choices for stroke patients who need in-pain rehab. The doctor will help you decide which is better. The first is general in-pain rehab. This is the usual way. Patients can stay about 1 month in each hospital, then most move to another one. Because of insurance rule, they can keep changing hospital for up to about 1 year. The second is Post-Acute Care program. It's called PAC. This is for patients who are already stable and show good rehab potential. PAC is more intensive with stronger therapy. Patients can stay for up to 3 months. They must go home with our public health insurance. Most therapy sessions are with multiple patients at once. The therapist help many people at the same time. The seat limits the numbers of therapy sessions. For each patient to 1 session per day for each type of therapy. Some hospitals offer one-on-one sessions, but it's not always available. Many hospitals also offer sessions you pay for yourself, like RTS, robot assisted training, and VR training. This costs about NT 2,500 to 5,000 each time. These new technologies became more popular in Taiwan. After being discharged, patients have 3 main choices for rehab. The first option is outpatient rehab, and actually, most people in Taiwan just go with national health insurance. It's super cheap, just about 50 new Taiwan dollars per visit. It's under $2 US, but here's the catch. The sessions are limited, only 3 to 6 a week, and usually they will group setting. Because of that, therapy often have to work with several patients at the same time, so therapy becomes more equipment-based and less personal. Patients often end up figuring out movement by themselves with very little feedback, and for stroke rehab, that's a problem because effective neural rehab really needs feedback, correct, and active learning. In recent years, though, more and more patients are willing to pay for private sessions, one-on-one personal goal, high-quality training. If they want that, they just pay out of pocket. The cost about NT 1,500 to 3,000 each time. Some patients choose to live a nursing home or a special rehab facility. The center will arrange for their care and rehab, but the quality and the cost can be very different from place to place. The third option is home rehab, which is part of our long-term care 2.0 system. If a patient goes home and it's difficult for them to leave the house, they can apply for home-based therapy funded by our long-term care system. The therapy comes directly to their home to help them practice in real life, using their own furniture and tools. It's actually super helpful because it can be used at the same time as outpatient rehab. It's a great way for people to getting better after they leave the hospital. The long-term care system also provides other support. For example, therapists can come to home to do a home safety checks and provide advice making the house safer. There's also financial support for buying tools for daily living, and they can arrange transportation to the hospital. You can even get home helps to assist with daily tasks. This service makes it easy for stroke patients to keep doing their rehab at home. And beyond clinical practice, I try to extend support through digital platforms. One of the ways I do this is by running a Facebook group. It's one of the biggest Chinese-speaking stroke groups in the world, with over 20,000 members from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Malaysia. In this group, people share their story and encourage each other. It's truly amazing to see the power of this community. Among all the stories, one in particular about a wife and her husband has given many people strength. Her husband had a stroke, when he was only 32. With his wife's support, he not only recovered from intense care, but also overcame countless transfer and rehab challenges. He even successfully returned to the workforce. This couple also share their annual travel experience in the group. For many, their story is more than just a tale. It's a huge encouragement that said, look, they did it. We can do too. I also have an online presence through my blog and YouTube channel. My blog has almost 100 articles, and my YouTube channel has over 100 videos where I show patients how to do a rehab exercise. I also publish a book about stroke rehab in Chinese. In addition, I hold talks and workshops for patients and their families, bring our online community together to meet in person. In conclusion, in Taiwan, an occupational therapy has grown from the clinical to the home and the community. Stroke rehab is a long journey, not a sprint, but a marathon. As occupational therapists, we didn't just give exercise. We work with our patients. We listen, we adapt, and hopefully, we help them find their way back to a meaningful life. Thank you all so much for listening.